Hey guys, Cdrama Invasion here. Welcome back to a new video. This is my wrap up for August and all the dramas I've recently watched. So we have so many dramas that wrapped up filming, so I finally had a chance to watch the whole thing and see how my thoughts changed from part 1 to part 2, my first impressions till now. Let's start with Love Like the Galaxy. So this one, I thought the romance was great throughout. It's very similar to like a simmering braised meat dish or something that's just slow burn, but full of flavor. Definitely worth the wait, even though I still believe that there could have been more scenes of the male lead in the beginning part. I love how direct he is to the female lead. In front of everyone. He literally is just so in love with her, and I think one scene that stood out in my mind during the earlier portion was his comment on, "I'm interested in you, but you aren't into me, and you wouldn't even look at me." There were so many good moments though that led up to the build-up, and of course in part 2 it paid off. I wish we had more comedy with Ling Buyi's character. One of my favorite scenes for comedic elements is when he came in with the black armored squad to her family, and he's just very nonchalant, and during this time he doesn't really know what's going on. He has poor social skills, and aside from war, which is all that he knows, and commanding, he doesn't know how to be soft, and it's super funny to see him trying to interact with the family at dinner, and he just makes it worse and worse, but does not know how to read the mood, and that whole situation was so funny. I've seen a lot of comments on Wu Lei's acting. Some people said that he's better in other dramas. I would say that for this, maybe his interpretation of the character is always being unable to let go, even though there's like emotional moments. Maybe it's because of his character, the way it's written that way. Sometimes you interpret it that way where it's so hard for them to express their emotions. Sometimes I do agree that beside Zhao Lusi, and they're both crying, they're both hugging it out, I feel like his emotions are a little bit more rigid and tense than the female lead, who is a little bit more natural at it. I think she got a lot of practice in that department, and for him, I think that give him probably 1 or 2 more dramas and he'll probably find that natural balance to just make it look a little bit less stiff and rigid. But it didn't really take me out of the story so much. A lot of people thought it was like distracting. That wasn't the case for me. I was really enjoying the character development and the plot of the drama overall. I think some of the weaker episodes were like around episode 40 to like 45, 46, probably because it kind of slowed down and it was a lot of royalty stuff. I like the king plotline with his 2 concubine and the queen so much. It's just that the kids, like, probably because they didn't have any screen time or any important build-up in the first half. Therefore, when they had all these problems and issues, I really didn't care for it. Isn't it refreshing how the main royal couple, like the empress, the royal concubine, and the king, all really loved the main couple? He was like the biggest shipper. I think there was this one scene that had me laughing so hard. It's nice to have them on your side for once, instead of all these dramas where there always some jealousy, some type of scheming involved. Aside from some like pacing issues, overall I didn't have a problem with it. Was super invested and was actually surprised how much I loved and cared for the family as a whole. So I'm going to talk about the ending a little bit and what I wanted from it. So do skip, like, I would say 2 minutes after this if you haven't completed it. But yeah, I'm going to spoil in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I would say that I'm docking points for not letting us see the actual wedding after waiting so long for that many episodes. I thought that, yes, the ending was satisfying, but I wanted to see the wedding so badly. They never do this in Chinese dramas, I swear. They always have the characters like kiss or say that they're gonna have a wedding, they're gonna get married or something. I just want an extra 5 minutes of epilogue or something. But I did read a tweet somewhere that they said that in the novel, they didn't get to see the final wedding either. But I think with the drama adaptation, they could have took some liberties and even extended like 2 minutes. Yeah, that's kind of it for spoilers. I do love a full circle moment always, especially when they explain the title, Love Like the Galaxy. I think they were talking about like love and comparing it to the galaxy, and that was such a sweet moment. Love how ridiculously loyal they are to each other, and yeah, overall, I would give this a 9 out of 10. The other drama that I watch is Immortal Sara Part 1. It's on hold for now. I think that episodes like 18 to 20 onwards, I did not care for the mortal realm type of thing. I know that this is the pattern where it's usually the immortal realm. They fall in love there, of course, it's forbidden love, and then they have to go through this reincarnation cycle where they get their memories wiped, of course, in the mortal realm, not knowing anything about their past. And fate has it where they meet again, they fall in love, and then somehow goes back to the mortal realm or get their memories back, yada yada. And I really did like the first couple of episodes. I thought it was super fun, of course. There's moments where I'm like, okay, this is really childish and typical, but I was kind of in the mood for it because we haven't had a Shansha for so long. Of course, Love Between Fairy and Devil, which I'm going to talk about in a second, came out, and of course it slapped us all into perspective of how refreshing and how fun that one is. So compared to this one, it was just Dollarama versus Chanel. I think the biggest problem with Immortal Sara is that they had such a huge budget and they hyped us up so much, but where did that budget go? I'm guessing it went to paying the actors, but literally they could have shortened it down and just gotten to the point. There are so many scenes where it's literally the same thing and they focus way too much time on this tortoise couple with the princess in the mortal realm. I'm just saying the mortal realm is way worse than the first part. So if you didn't like the first section, then I think the mortal realm is even worse. There's no problem for the acting department here. I just feel like the writers needed to put anything a little bit better, or even make the villain story more compelling, because so far it's just bland. And also the effects look kind of tacky. Definitely not Chris if you watch Love Between Fairy and Devil. I think the cinematography and costume there just looks so much better. Yeah, I'll give this probably a 5.5 out of 10. Well, the first part. If I manage to watch the second part, I'll let you know in a different video. Okay, Love Between Fairy and Devil. This is my updated final review and thoughts. One thing I failed to mention in my first impressions, I think, are that the fight scenes are so good. These effects are so good, and one of my favorite things about the male lead is his blue fire, the blue hellfire. It just looks so cool, especially the little swirl in his eyes when he uses it. So awesome. There was also some unexpected bromance in the mortal realm. I thought for the most part they nailed it with the writing. A lot of the character arcs, developments, fights and stuff really did make sense. It didn't feel like the female lead was just pushing the male lead away for the sake of it. Yes, it did take her a while to fall in love with him, but to be fair, it was bigger than them. She kept on asking him, are you going to basically wipe out the, I think, Shen Yun Tian, the immortal righteous realm? And he was basically unmoving when it came to that. He was like, yes. So she really did have a lot to think about, and it made sense why it took her a little bit longer to come to terms with everything. I liked how it played out. I'll talk about the ending in a little bit, but let's go through some other highlights. I think some of my favorite story arcs is the background story on the male lead. It was just so nice, especially the one with his father, his family. Everything was super heartbreaking. I was really stunned by how great his acting was in that scene where he's just bawling his eyes out. Standout episodes for this drama are episode 18, 31, and 35. The OST just really works with this, especially during those emotional scenes. I do think that Esther Yu is the weaker one in terms of acting here, because Dylan really improved in these emotional scenes. There's a lot of scenes where they're crying, but I feel like she's not giving it her all, and maybe the production team even knows this, because there's some crying scenes where they kind of just transition out, they kind of pan it out, the camera, kind of do some editing around that instead of just having a one long shot of the actors crying their eyes out. But I do get it. I think this is one of her only super emotional dramas. Of course, there's cutesy stuff, but she's definitely more known for that rom-com actress. So the transition is difficult, but just like Dylan Wong, I really disliked him in Miss the Dragon. He was just so stiff and horrible. But he surely did improve, and I think that if she takes some more similar roles, she can definitely nail it. Once again, in defense of her cutesy voice that really bothers people, it's really off-putting. Even my sister, who was watching it for the first time, she only got used to it because she watched her on other variety shows and interviews, and she literally sounds the same. It is her real voice, but I do think they did kind of cranked it up and made her a little bit too over the top, probably just because they want to see the difference in her later on, either in the body swap parts or those darker moments when her characters grows. As for critiques, I think it's definitely with that whole main plot line, the evil villain guy. I honestly don't even think I cared that much, to be honest. Let's just say the politics and scheming stuff isn't too well written compared to the romance and the build up for the other characters, etc. I felt like we kind of saw it coming, and it took the main characters way too long to figure it all out. Also, props to the PR team, the design team, the stylists, because there's definitely that theme in her clothing that resembles an orchid. From the wardrobe to the posters, it has this whimsical, like whites, pinks, purples. This is known as a moth orchid. So it's nice to see that they were pretty on theme with it and kept it consistent throughout the entire drama. The male lead's costume is of course a standout. He looks great, and it's definitely props to that extra accessory, from the headpiece to that like giant headpiece that made him stand out compared to other dramas where the male lead or the demonic characters come in. About the ending, I wish we got more as well. I wish this one was 40 episodes. I think it really does deserve it. There were a lot of things that we could have gotten a little bit more answers. Once again, that epilogue style that I would like. I feel like all these Chinese dramas just need to add an epilogue, and then it will solve most of my problems. Although it's not perfect, it's probably one of the only dramas that I enjoyed so much in this genre for a while now. And it was the attention to details, the body swap, like all these little things, quirks, funny moments that made it just such a good drama to watch. So I'll give this one a 9.5 out of 10. And the last things that I completed this month, first one is Extraordinary Attorney Woo. That one, it started off so great and it was consistently good. I would just say that some cases were stronger than others. I think I said whatever I had to say during the first impressions part, and for the most part it was, but for some reason my enjoyment level of it wasn't the same from the first time I binged it. But I will still stand by that this is one of the most wholesome couples, and all the characters that really uplift her are great here. We also have such phenomenal acting from the female lead. I love that she challenges herself every time. I think she was in a couple of dramas. One was like a rom-com. I watched The King's Affection with her, which was a little bit more melodramatic. So she's just great doing all these types of different roles. I love to see that. Also love how popular this got. It gotten so much love from Korea and also from international fans, so much so that they are going to do a season 2, but it's going to take place, I think, in 2 years after the male lead, Kang Tae-oh, goes to the military. But you know what? I'll take it because I prefer it if they don't replace the main cast. Like in Alchemy of Souls, I'll rather wait for it, than to just kind of throw away all this built up romance and connection that the main leads have, the main actors have built during the first season. Anyways, since that was my segue, I'm gonna rate this one an 8.5 out of 10 and move on to Alchemy of Souls. One of the best things about Alchemy of Souls is the editing, the effects, and the quality of this drama. As a whole, it looks phenomenal and it never kind of dips in quality, which is great. I like the whole romance thing going on. I like all the couples here. The older couples are really funny too. Like, I think all around for a drama that has to introduce so much to us, like it's a completely new world. Even though it looks like a historical drama, it has fantastical elements. They kind of give you Harry Potter vibes with these various like houses and different type of magical abilities. I love the bromance as well that I guess you would call him the third male lead in the love square. Is just so funny. I think he's a crown prince and I didn't expect to like him so much, but I really do. A good mix of action, romance, fantasy, and comedy. Good acting across the board. Nothing came out as like somebody trying way too hard or kind of awkward, which is good. As for the ending, I think I expected something like that just because once they revealed that there will be season 2 and it's coming in December, which is great. We don't have to wait for like 1 or 2 years. I think most of us like kind of know where it was going if you were watching. But going into this, I had no clue that they would make a season 2. So if I could do it all again, I would recommend you to not watch this and wait until season 2 comes out, then binge everything together. I think you'll have a more pleasurable time. I'll give Alchemy of Souls an 8.5 out of 10 as well. And last but not least is not a drama, but a variety show on Netflix. I watched New World. This has 8 episodes and it was so good. I think that one of the strongest episodes is episode 3. First episode is okay, but it's good setup to know the various cast members and stuff. It's really nice because I love Lee Seung-gi and I know that he's hilarious. But this introduced me to a lot of other people in the industry that I've heard of, like EXO Kai. And I was kind of shocked by how devious and hilarious he could be. I enjoyed the show so much. The concept is about them going to this new island called the New World, and it was so cool. I know that they got that Netflix budget because they literally have an app, phones invented, everything like machines, money that is like this currency of this new world. It really does feel like you're like in a new place. Everyone got to build their dream homes and it was so beautiful to look at. I really like the scenery and stuff as well. There's some mystical, fantastical stuff that's like pretty fun. There's also this random shadow store where you can draw random weapons depending on how much money you have. You obviously have to buy it and you can use it during the games, which is super fun as well. So yeah, this has a lot to do with like capitalism, kind of like maybe Monopoly, with magic and various missions in real life. So if you're bored, you don't know what to watch, or you're like, I want to watch something, but I don't want to commit to a whole new drama, then check this one out. You'll probably enjoy it. Give it like 2 episodes. And let me know your thoughts on my thoughts or your own thoughts, and whether you agree or disagree, whether you'll watch any of these dramas. Make sure to give this video a big thumbs up. It really helps the algorithm, and comment if you can. These review videos just don't do as well as my C-drama updates video, so it does negatively impact the channel. So I would really appreciate it if you just leave a comment. As for dramas and upcoming like sneak peeks, I started one drama, I think the Flying Fox, or the side story Fox Volant. So I'll make a first impressions on that one. I watched Big Mouth and I basically caught up. Really enjoying that one. And I'm thinking of starting Lost Track in Time, but not right now since the subs are pretty bad. And I also want to start, what is it called? If You Wish Upon Me, a K-drama with Ji Chang-wook that I saw some clips on. It looks sad, it looks beautiful, it looks super funny as well. So that's like an interesting balance. So keep an eye out for those upcoming first impressions video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.